Welcome back, everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Fanatic Rundown, joined by Joseph here at Rogers Place following the Edmonton Oilers and Minnesota Wild game tonight. Oh,
Oh, oh boy.
it yeah, it
Yeah. Hey, at least we got the tickets for cheap. That's all
yeah,
I can say.
yeah. There's a lot to unpack with this one. So it had a really promising start. The easiest goal of Leon Draisaitl's career and the probably worst goal of Marc-Andre Fleury's career. Draisaitl clears it in. Fleury is going to try and play the puck, completely misses it, goes into the net. The Oilers have a 1-0 lead. I think it was 30 seconds into the hockey game, pretty
Yeah,
quick there. So the Oilers get a chance to jump out ahead of this one, and that was probably the most excitement we got from the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
yeah, probably that, and maybe the
Yeah,
last 40 seconds, which meant absolutely nothing at the end.
yeah.
So
Jeff Skinner scored with 30 seconds left in the hockey game. So
another fluke goal went off a Minnesota player. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, a couple fluke goals. I mean, even the Corey Perry goal tonight was somewhat of a fluke. He wrapped around and it bounced in off of a Minnesota defender's skate, I believe. So
yeah, that's right.
the Oilers had some luck on their side for goal scoring tonight, but not much for defending. There were some horrible, horrible goals. Josh Brown and Troy Stetcher goal was one that stands out in particular to me. The puck was bouncing around. Both of them had chances to clear, and the puck ends up in the back of the net. The Oilers were up 1-0 in this game, like I said, fell behind 2-1. Corey Perry tied it 2-2, and then it was pretty much all Minnesota from that point on, going up 5-2, and Jeff Skinner in the final minute making it 5-3. But I don't know. That's my initial thoughts here, Joseph. What are you thinking on this hockey game
Yeah,
tonight?
I definitely agree too. Promising start, and hey, we knew coming in it'd be a tough game. Minnesota, they're top, well, one of the top teams in the Central. We're missing Nurse, we're missing Hyman, we're missing Arvidsson. We knew we had our hands full. But that doesn't mean you can't show up with a good effort. And quite frankly, the effort wasn't there, in my opinion. Sure, there obviously were some fluke goals. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think some defensive misplays for sure. And then, to be honest, even our offensive pressure didn't seem a lot of drive to the net. Just seemed like they're trying to make that fancy play rather than trying to get the puck to the net. And you can clearly tell in the first period, Fleury was not at the top of his game. So I thought, why not test him out? But they just kept getting shots from the perimeter, shots from the point, nothing really to test him out. And ultimately, Minnesota was a better team and they deserved the win.
Yeah, I think you and I said multiple times tonight, Marc-Andre Fleury looked shaky, like that goal to open this hockey game should have given the Edmonton Oilers all the motivation and desire they needed to go after Fleury tonight. I mean, he made some good saves. Credit to Fleury. McDavid had a breakaway there, and Fleury poke checked him really nicely. He came up with some big stops eventually, but the Oilers just simply did not challenge him enough. Like you said, a lot of perimeter play. The Oilers with two new guys coming into the lineup tonight. Kasperi Kapanen, their waiver wire pickup from the St. Louis Blues. Drake Kajula coming up from the Bakersfield Condors. Didn't really notice either guy too much. I mean, Drake Kajula is playing on the fourth line. Kapanen was playing with Nugent Skinner. So I was really hoping that line could pop. I mean, Jeff Skinner did get that late goal, but I don't think Kapanen was on the ice with him at all for that one. So,
No, it was with Nugent
yeah,
Hopkins and yeah, and then overall, we saw like especially in the third period, Nob kept changing the lines. It shows like nothing's working out.
yeah.
Sure, there's injured guys, but you gotta have some consistency. There's none of that today. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I get with what the Oilers are dealing with roster wise, why McDavid and Draisaitl are paired together, but I think it was Jason Greger who tweeted out, or Mark Spector, I can't remember who it was, that the Oilers are so desperate for offense now they're breaking up McDavid and Draisaitl. I mean, that's supposed to be your nuclear weapon right there, and
yeah,
even they're struggling to produce. Podkolzin still without a goal,
yeah.
playing with McDavid and Draisaitl, so I don't know how much longer that experiment's going to last. Really want to see Podkolzin break through here. Like I said, it was nice to see Jeff Skinner get a goal there late in the game, but is ultimately, yeah, as you said, Joseph, a fluke and a real meaningless goal, a third goal in a final minute of a 5-3 loss. The Oilers just looked so incredibly lifeless tonight. Nobody looked good. I was saying to you, Joseph, like in the first intermission, I'm like, when is this team going to show some urgency? I mean, they looked like just they were going through the motions. There was no,
Yeah, like sure, like
yeah,
you can't match the intensity of the postseason. I get that, but
yeah,
where it's the 21st of November, this isn't game 1 through 5. We're in game, I think 20 or so, I think, and then sure, we can talk about these guys are not motivated because they're still not over the postseason. Well, you know what? It's November. It's the middle of the season. Every team has injuries. Every team is going through ups and downs. There's no excuse, and as we talked about in the second intermission, if you have guys out such as Hyman, Nurse, Arvidsson, sure, that puts a weakness in your team, but that should be motivation for some of the other guys at the bottom of the lineup to chip in more because they've granted an opportunity to play with guys absent. But if you're in place the lineup of guys in lieu of their absence, you should step up more, and I don't think we saw that today.
yeah. Yeah, this team is clearly really missing Hyman, Arvidsson, especially Darnell Nurse on the blue line. Travis Dermott was a late scratch for this hockey game, and Josh Brown came back in. And as I mentioned, Josh Brown and Troy Stetcher paired up for that one terrible goal. Stuart Skinner had another struggle tonight, but once again, I saw a lot of comments about the Oilers got to get a goaltender, but like I told you guys in my video the other day, like I don't know if there's a goaltender out there to get. I think we have to hope that Stuart Skinner can come out here and turn it around. Maybe they'll go for somebody like a Mackenzie Blackwood or something like that. But this team has a lot of problems right now. They're goaltending for sure, defense for sure. Still can't score. I mean,
I think that's the
yeah,
main issue
yeah,
for sure.
like two of their three goals tonight were pretty much gifts. And I think the Corey Perry goal, he was picked as the top performer tonight, was really the only one that stood out as the Oilers really trying. They refused to crash the net, despite that Marc-Andre Fleury looked really shaky. So
Yeah,
it's just another incredibly frustrating performance from this team. They look good at points, and then just other nights like tonight, like the Montreal game, like the 6-0 game against home opener against the Winnipeg
Columbus
Jets.
game. Yeah,
Like I've been to two games this year. I've seen the Oilers outscored 11-3.
yeah. They haven't even scored a goal on any of the Amazon Prime broadcasts.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I'm not allowed to go to any games anytime soon. That's for sure. But
and you know what? We could talk about Skinner. We could talk about the defense, and rightfully so. There's some goals I'm sure he'd love back. Sure, that Stetcher and Brown goal, that was horrendous. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, if you can only score 2 to 3 goals a game, and two of the goals are fluke gifted goals, you're not going to win many hockey games. It doesn't matter if you have Igor Shesterkin in net or Jake Ottinger in net. It doesn't matter if you have a Cale Makar or a Quinn Hughes. If you don't score, you're not going to win.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing, I guess, looking forward here for the Edmonton Oilers, they've got one more game on Saturday against the New York Rangers, a game they definitely have to show up for. It's Hockey Fights Cancer Night here at Rogers Place, so I really hope they show up for that one. And in addition, after that hockey game, they've got a 5-day break, so they have no excuse not to bring everything they've got on Saturday against the Rangers, at least try and close this out with a win here. And then we'll see if anything happens for the Oilers here over this 5-day break, whether the Oilers just want to wait and reset. They should be getting Nurse, Arvidsson, and Hyman back for their first game next Friday against Utah, but we'll see what happens if Stan Bowman decides to pull the trigger on anything. A 5-day break would kind of be an ideal time for that, but also the Oilers may just feel they want to wait it out, get some of their guys back that are injured, and see how the team looks following their 5-day break. But I don't know. Do you think we're going to see anything on the break, Joseph?
You never know. Like I think, like my whole thing with the break is, yeah, like you definitely want to get those injured players back. But I think, you brought up a trade. Sure, we can't really control what the market dictates right now. But if you are to make a trade, I think it's a great time because looking at the schedule, so we have a 5-day break after the game against New York on Saturday. Hockey Fights Cancer. Hopefully, we get the win. But we have a back-to-back in Salt Lake City and in Denver next week against the Utah Hockey Club and the Avalanche, respectively. That's going to be a tough back-to-back. And we have many home games in December, especially against some of the Pacific Division opponents. So my thing is, if you're gonna try to get a guy to be acclimated to our team and try to get this, turned around sooner than later, I think making a trade, getting a guy acclimated to the team is, obviously great, but we can't really control what happens to the trade. But I think the important thing is they need to show up on Saturday, give it everything they got, and then regardless of what the result is on Saturday, regardless of if there's a trade, what the status of the injuries are, this team just has to show them a consistency. You can't show up like you did in the Toronto game where you play well and then some unfortunate bounces at the end and some bad special teams cost you, and then they play absolutely horrendous in Montreal, and then the next day they decide to show up in Ottawa, and then today, as you and I are at this game, they decide to not show up again. So hey, just like in life, there's always good days and bad days. Every team in an 82 game season, there's gonna be good games and bad games, but hey, we've already witnessed about, I think, 4 to 6 quote unquote bad games where this team just did not show up. And, we're only in the middle of November. I don't think it's good enough at all. So lots to work on, but they got to keep moving forward for sure.
Yeah, that's the line right there, Joseph. Lots to work on here going forward. So this video is running a little long, but thought I'd go a little bit longer. I don't usually have a partner to do these videos with, so get a little bit more discussion in there for you guys. But yeah, 10:30 here, so I'll wrap it up for tonight. Joseph, thank you for joining me for the Fanatic Rundown tonight. Guys, if you like the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you along for the ride here as the Edmonton Oilers hopefully get things turned around in the very near future. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan. Have a great night, guys.